So, what you're gonna do on this first day is on your newsprint, on a sheet of newsprint, what I want you to do for about maybe 45 minutes is just experiment and get a feel for the different materials you're gonna be using in the class. And we're not really using that many different materials, but they do have a lot of things. There's specific things about each one of them wherein you'll see that they do a lot of different things in terms of variety of mark making and sensitivity in terms of how to manipulate them. So first off the bat, you should have a number of pencils. And in terms of the pencils, what the deal is that I had you get an HB, a 2B, I think a 4 or 5B, and an 8B pencil. And the thing about the pencils is when they go up numerically, from HB is basically between hard and B is considered soft. So HB is right in the middle between hard and soft. That's like equivalent to a number 2 pencil that you would normally use, like to do Scantron tests in school. Okay, but so you have the HB pencil, which is going to be your lightest pencil, and then as your B pencils move up, numerically, they're going to start getting softer, and therefore they're going to start getting darker. Okay, so just try to experiment with the pencils in that sense, and just know that obviously numerically, like the 8B is the softest and the darkest, and the HB is the lightest. So all the other Bs, the 2, the 4, the 5, or the 6, whatever you have, are just going to slowly start getting a little bit softer or darker as they move towards the 8B pencil. Okay, and then your charcoal pencil, I think you have a white and a black charcoal pencil. It's just harder, and it's just, you're going to be able to use this in a variety of ways when we start doing kind of longer charcoal drawings. And so that'll make more sense later on. And then your vine charcoal, you have these long pieces of very fragile vine charcoal. Try to break these in half like this, or in smaller sizes. And, just know that try to keep them, they're very fragile, but you're going to be able to get very, very soft and subtle variations with the vine charcoal. Again, the more you start working with all these things, the more this will all start making sense. And then the black pastel, the black kind of rectangular pieces, try to break these in half like this. And again, this is going to be your darkest charcoal that you're using. This is going to bring out your strongest sense of contrast. And this is extremely valuable in really making drawings, really, really dynamic, especially in combination with the other charcoals. And then your erasers, you're going to have there's going to be that flat kind of pink looking eraser. That's your kneaded eraser. And what you want to start doing is just kneading it like what I'm doing here. Okay, and so when it gets built up with like charcoal or graphite, when you start kneading it, it kind of kneads away and clears itself out, and it will lighten up, and you'll get rid of all the other residue from the charcoal or the graphite. But you just have to always knead it like this. And I'll show you how to use this in terms of blending and stuff like that. And then your Staedtler eraser is that white kind of plastic eraser. Mine that I have right here has got a lot of residue on it, but you can see that it's that white part here. And it's going to get kind of built up, but it's still going to work inevitably fine, as you use it, the more you use it. And then you're going to have your click eraser, which is going to enable you to get like levels of detail. And again, you can manipulate it in terms of how much is coming out in terms of that. And I'm going to show you when we start working with the charcoal. And then your blending stomps are those paper stomps that are going to enable you, and there's different sizes in terms of detail or width that you're going to be able to manipulate the charcoal or pencil or anything like that as we move on. So when you first start off on this first drawing, you're not doing a drawing. All you're trying to do is just kind of get an experiment and try to get a sense of how everything feels and acts. So first off, with the vine charcoal, try not to draw with it like you're holding it like a pencil like this. Try to use it more like with your wrist, okay? And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm fluctuating the pressure, okay? So now I'm going really dark, and then I'm lifting it up, dark, soft, dark, soft, dark. Okay, so you can use it like this. You just want to really bring out some fluidity when you're drawing with the vine charcoal. And again, you don't want to go like this. You just want to kind of try to use your wrist when you're laying out any kind of drawings with your vine charcoal instead of drawing like this, okay? Then also, the thing about the vine charcoal is if you keep breaking it in half, you're also going to build use the side of it to start building up tones like this. Okay, so as you can see, again, I'm slowly letting off less pressure. And so what's happening is I'm manipulating the value transitions where I started up here kind of going darker. I can go back and be additive and make it darker. And then I slowly lift it off and then it gets a lot lighter. Okay, and then also just know about the vine charcoal that it's considered like a very kind of neutralized kind of medium gray, so it'll only usually get about that dark. Okay, okay, but just again, try to use it like this, your hand like this, and then also use it on the side. Okay, and it's very fragile, so you'll get a sense of like how to start trying to control it, and it's kind of messy. Also, when you're working, wherever you're working, try to take off a couple sheets of your newsprint, put them underneath your pad. So if you start getting residue, you'll be able to clean it up. If you're working on a table, if you're working on wherever you're working. Okay, so also now with the black pastel. So now, as you can see, it gets that dark. Okay, so again, now if I start and if I go like in a circular motion like this, I can kind of get even transitions when I lay it down. And then again, what I'm doing is I'm slowly letting off the pressure and it's slowly going to start getting lighter. Okay, and I can also make very distinguished darker marks with the black pastel. Okay, like this. I can also blend it together like this. I can start using my stomp to start blending areas like this. And again, with all of these tools, always know that you're manipulating them with the pressure you're using, okay? So the more you lift it off and the less pressure you use, the lighter things are gonna get, okay? And I can blend all of this together. Again, all you're trying to do right now is just kind of get a sense for how everything feels. And this is gonna seem kind of messy, but when you're using charcoals or pencils like this, you can wash all of this off with soap and water. It's not toxic. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So now my charcoal pencil, this will enable me to kind of like start using, more line detail if I want and building it up. And again, you can see that how I use it in terms of pressure is going to determine like how dark the line gets. Okay. The same thing with your regular pencils. Just know that, you can just experiment with like what happens with the pressure of the pencil. Okay. And again, when I'm using my pencils, I can alter the pressure, and that's going to alter the tone and the value structure, okay? So again, with this, remember, you're not trying to actually make an image or a drawing. What you're going to end up is going to look very abstract, but I just want you to see how all the different mediums interact and how to manipulate them. So again, with the with the kneaded eraser, I'm going to come back through and I'm going to start kind of cleaning up this edge. And kneaded erasers are very good for blending and softening areas, like what you can see is happening here. So I can soften up edges and come back in, okay? Or I can use it to kind of blend areas of charcoal. And again, I'm manipulating the lightness and the darkness because of how much pressure I'm using. So the more pressure I use, the lighter areas are gonna get, okay? And then I can also take out light, and if I smear my kneaded eraser through here, you're gonna start seeing you get variables and variations with the light being subtracted out of the darker areas. That's the same thing with your click eraser. If I come back in, I can take out detail with lighter areas like this. Or I can come back and it's really good for creating really light or sharpening up edges that you want to be really light, like this. Okay. And that's the same with the Staedtler eraser, which you don't have to break in half like this. I just wanted you to see that I'm still using it where it's an actual eraser. So like say I wanted just to get rid of all of this right here. I'm using my eraser like this. And then I come back through and I'm starting to want to add more, more grays from the fine charcoal on top, and so on and so forth. So basically all I want you to do is just play around with all your different stuff that you have out of your toolbox, all your charcoals, all your erasers, everything, and just be subtractive with your erasers, taking stuff out, be additive with your charcoals and your pencils with stuff on top. Try manipulating, line weights, everything like that, and just get a very nice physical sense of how everything plays itself out. And again, you're just going to be doing this on your newsprint, on just one sheet, okay? And then there's going to be a demo for the drawing that you're going to do after this one. And I want you to try to spend about 40 minutes really playing up with the physicality of all the different materials. It's just really, really important to see how they feel and how to actually manipulate them. And there's no right or wrong, but just experiment as much as you possibly can. Just so you start feeling comfortable with everything.